Good morning, Facebook friends. Hey, it's 5:30 in the morning, and I'm going to make some quick biscuits. And listen, the reason I'm making this morning, I know all of you older followers that's been following me for over a year know how to make biscuits now because I've seen you post it, all your beautiful biscuits that you're making. But I'm going to show a little bit this morning to our new followers. We've got so many new followers, and I want to thank y'all for watching me on Facebook and Instagram, and I thank you for that. You're watching Cooking with Brenda GAN this morning. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I make biscuits from a coddle house. I've got some people over there this morning. I've got me in my flour bowl, I've got this in it. I've got White Lily self-rising flour. I've got my oven set on 500 degrees. And I get me some oil. This is just solid, and it's about a little bit bigger than a chicken egg. See there? I put it in what I formed out be a bird nest in the bottom. Put this in there, and I'm gonna pour me some buttermilk in, whole buttermilk. And I've already, I always tell to shake the bottle. I'm gonna pour in just a little bit. I don't know how much I got, probably about a cup and a half, something like that. And I'm just going to squeeze this around in here just a minute or two. Like this. And I'm pulling just a little bit of flour in at the time. Just a little bit. Now your grandmothers made it this way. They just left the flour in their bowl. Some of them used wooden bowls. Some of them had metal bowls. And some of them had pottery bowls like me. But my mother used Tupperware bowls. So just whatever bowl you could get. But see how my dough is forming there? You can tell it. And it just doesn't take but a minute. Honey, you can do this quicker than a Whop biscuit any day. Just see how it's pulling in right there. And you just pull in a little bit more at the time. You don't want like that until it feels right. Which I don't know how long that is, but I do know this. You don't want to work it too long or pull in too much flour at a time. See, I'm not pulling in much. Just a little bit. All right, that's about it. That's done, y'all. Look at that. Wasn't that quick? Started at 5:30 and now it's about 25 to 6, isn't it? Okay? It's quick and it's easy. All right, this is how you clean off your hands for all you new followers. You just take these two fingers and pull down on each one of your other fingers and get all that extra off. That's probably about 2 biscuits worth right there. Somewhere around there anyway. My eyes are all swollen this morning. I've still got a little bit of poison in it, but they are doing better. But I worked outside again yesterday. All right, here's what you do next. Okay, you take your surface you've got, and you put a little bit of flour on it. Not much, just a tad, and you flour your hands a little bit so nothing sticks to it. You reach over in there and you get your dough out. Put it down. Now you pat it out. And then you kind of, let me flour in my hand. Then you kind of pat it over like that just a time or two. And that's to make your biscuit look kind of smooth and so you don't have a lot of old dry flour on the top of it, okay? I'm so glad y'all are tuning in with me this morning, my new followers. I think there was several hundred that signed up yesterday. So I'm just tickled pink about it because I really do want all of America. From the California coast to the top of Maine to the down south is Texas and North Dakota and South Dakota. We're all going to make biscuits. All right, you take your pan now. This is I just took an old pizza can 53 years ago and cut out both ends of it. And this is what I use as my biscuit cutter. So you put it in your flour, tap it a time or two so it won't stick. And you just gently cut out your biscuits. All right, here I go. Can you see that a little bit? Let's see if I can pull this over some where you can kind of see what I'm doing. There we go. That's good. All right, so I'm going to cut them out like that. Put them on my plate. Some of your grandmothers and mothers used to what they call choke off a biscuit. And all they did is take their dough and they would just pull off some with their hand, and that's fine too if you want to do it that way. Look at that, what I've done this morning. It is early in the morning, isn't it? See how smooth though that they can look on top if you'll flip it over a time or two like that. All right, we're coming right along here. Now this white lily flour is smooth. It is light. It's almost like a cake flour. It is so good. I know that some of you can't find it in your state yet, but we're hoping to get it in your state too. We want to have this white lily flour everywhere. It's good flour. Make sure you get the self-rising and not the all-purpose, okay? That way you don't have to put anything in it. When you have a little bit of dough like this left over, all you do is just pull it gently together. And I got one more space for a biscuit. That's why I'm pulling it together here. There we go. Put it right there. And I've got my pan of biscuits made. Now I'm going to put them in the oven on 500 degrees on about the middle shelf. And then it's going to take somewhere between 8 and 12 minutes according to what your oven is. But they'll be light brown. Now the reason you want to cook them on 500 is the quicker it heats up, the taller your biscuits get and they don't get dried out. If you cook them on a low temperature, it takes longer, so therefore they dry out. So you don't want to do that. So this is my leftover dough that I'm fixing to make some fried apple pies out of, and I'll get back with you in a minute, let you watch that, okay? See you in a little bit. Okay, this is my leftover biscuit dough. You can make it from scratch if you wanted to just make fried apple pies, but I had leftover biscuit dough from just then, so that's the reason I'm doing it like this. Let me get me a spoon now. Okay, here we go. What I did is I put me a pile of white lily flour right here, except that flour right there is the all-purpose flour. Here, this was made with self-rising, but I'm just going to work it a little bit. When you make fried pies, it's got to be stiffer, so I'm going to put some plain flour on there, and I'm going to do like this a while. I want it to be real stiff. The biscuit dough is way too soft. You know what I'm saying? So I want to get me some stiff dough. So I'm just going to work it just a little bit like this. If you didn't want to make fried pies that first day, what you could do is put your biscuit dough in the refrigerator and save it till the next day, okay? But I want to make them today. It's going to be a pretty day today. Even though the sun's not up yet, I can tell it's going to be another hot one. I turned my sprinkler on yesterday because all the plants I had planted, well, they were hanging their heads, honey. They were hanging their heads. All right, just beat this dough. You want it stiffer, so just take your aggression out on it and give it a good popping. And yes, it's getting all over the floor and everything else, but that's all right. That'll give me something to do later. I'll be sweeping the floor and having a mop too, I imagine. Okay, this thing's pretty stiff. All right, here's what you do. You pull off a little bit like this, okay? Like that. And you roll it out on your rolling surface into and start with the middle and roll out. And you want to roll it out so that, now if it's sticking to your surface or your rolling pin, that means you didn't have your dough stiff enough, so add a little bit more flour to it, okay? You new followers, I'm just so glad you're with me. And you old followers that are been following a year or so, y'all just bear with us. We want to show them this process because it's very important. All right, and I've got me some dried apple pie filling that I've squished up into little pieces here this morning. You can get peach or whatever you want. You put this in the middle of that, it's supposed to be a circle, but it doesn't matter if it's not quite. Put it right there, about a tablespoon. Then you take you some water. This is a very important step. Take you some water and you tap around the edge. Now this is going to work around like a glue coming around the edge of your pie. So just put your water right there. And then we're going to pull this over. So let's pull it over like that. And I'm going to tap it down gently. See, I put a little flour on my hands so that I don't stick to it. All right, like that. Now I'm going to take my knife and cut off the excess, the ugly part, in other words. I got plenty of stuff sticking out here that doesn't need to be sticking out. There we go. I'm going to save that little bit. Take your fork and go all the way around it. Now, what you're going to do, the reason you're doing this is you're pushing the two sides together. And see how I'm putting some more flour on my fork so it won't stick? This is going to glue it together so that when you put it in your grease, it'll stay together and your filling won't come out. Okay? So here's your pie. Like that, okay? And we're going to fry it in just a little bit, and I'll let you see that in a minute. Okay, we're ready to fry our fried apple pies, and we've got them all made. I've got me a skillet right here. It's a deep skillet. It's got oil in it, and I've heated it up to about medium heat. So that's what we want. So I'm going to get my pie and gently put it in, okay? So here your pie. Here's the pie. And just gently put it in there. Don't flop it down in there. All right, so my skillet will hold 3 pies at a time. So I'm going to bring you over here in just a second when I get them in. I'm going to let you see what's happening in the skillet. Okay. Come over here and look. All right, there's your skillet with your oil in it. And I've got, you can use corn oil or quinoa oil or whatever oil you want to use. When you first put them in, they'll go to the bottom and then they will float for a while until, and when they get brown on that side, I've got them on 9 right now. That's not high, but it's, you know, fairly. I've got my cream cheese right here, grits, that I'm fixing to serve at the Cottle House, and they're looking really creamy. Now, I've cooked these for a long, long time. You can't cook them for just a little bit. You've got to really cook them a long time. I'm cooking them in butter and water for a while till they get tender, and then I start adding milk. And at the very last, I add little pieces of cream cheese all in it. It tastes so good. Okay, these are frying up, and when it's ready to flip, I'll come back on here. Okay, they're ready to flip over, so I'm going to bring you over here, and I'm going to try to do it with one hand so you can watch. Gently turn them over, like that. Let them put just a minute or 2 on that side. They don't really have to get this brown if you don't want them. Some people like them light brown. We're getting brown on that side. Whew! You're getting to pop out on me. So anyway, you just get you some white ready flour and you go to frying, darling. I've got this big thing I'm going to take them up with in just a second. I turned it down to 7 on my thing because I think they're cooking a little bit high on that. All right, these are done. They're done on the other side. So I take them up, let them drain good, put them in my container, and I'm going to put me 3 more on real quickly, and then I'm going to show you something else. Let me put these on, and we'll be done. All right, we got these on. Now, what I've done right here, let me get you over here closer so you can see this. I took some powdered sugar, and I took 1 big old giant scoop of powdered sugar, and I'm telling y'all, you probably don't have to put in but like 2 teaspoons of water. I mean, you'll get too much in a hurry. But what you do is you can come over here to your pies, and you drizzle, just pull it up like that, and let it drizzle all over your pie, like this. That puts a nice little glaze on it. You could add flavors in your powdered sugar if you want to. Instead of doing it with water, you can do it with orange juice or cinnamon. You can put cinnamon in it or whatever you want. But this is your finished product. This is what it's going to look like, okay? And it'll be so good, y'all. It's going to be good, y'all. I'll show you the biscuits in just a minute when they come out, okay? Hey, they're ready, y'all. But before I do that, I want to say one thing. Scripture tells us that how we think in our heart, so a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. I hope y'all are all thinking thankfulness today and love and forgiveness and all those things in your heart today. Because if you do, if you think all those things in your heart today, you're going to be happier and more at peace with your own self. Be ready to forgive. Some people won't forgive you, but you can forgive them. Let's take out our biscuits. I like mine about like this. Whoop. About this brown. And I'm going to put me a thing on the end of that right there so it won't be too hot. I'm going to cover them up. And I'm headed to the coddle house. This video was especially for all of our new followers. We're so glad you joined us. Get you some white lily and bake with the rest of us, okay? Talk to y'all later. Bye.